The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. In the course of his teaching, Jesus said to the crowds, "Beware of the scribes who like to go around in long robes and accept greetings in the marketplaces, seats of honor in synagogues, and places of honor at banquets. They devour the houses of widows and, as a pretext, recite lengthy prayers. They will receive a very severe condemnation." He sat down opposite the treasury and observed how the crowds put money into the treasury. Many rich people put in large sums. A poor widow also came and put in 2 small coins worth a few cents. Calling his disciples to himself, he said to them, "Amen, I say to you, this poor widow put in more than all the other contributors to the treasury. For they have all contributed from their surplus wealth, but she, from her poverty, has contributed all she had, her whole livelihood." The Gospel of the Lord.
Peace and goodness to you, my friends. There are certain themes in the readings today that are quite obvious. It's largely interpreted about generosity. But then we can parse it a little bit more and understand something perhaps about the generosity of the gift and the meaning of the gifts that we give and what that meaning has. It's a test. We can say the value of the gift is not so much measured in dollars and cents, but the value of the gift truly is of another kind. The value of the gift is really determined in what it means to the giver to give the gift. That is what it costs the giver to bestow, to give the gift. What loss does the giver realize in the giving? Not just loss in finances, but there are other losses that we can experience in the giving of gifts. Now, as cryptic as that may sound, whenever we give a gift, we have to understand that it is going to cost us something, but that something may be slight, maybe even unnoticeable if we have an abundance, or that something may result in a hardship from us, as well as a pain, because in the giving of the gift we might experience some lack of comfort or in sustenance that we experience in the very act of the giving of the gift. That's the true measurement of a gift. If I have $1 million, and I don't, if I have $1 million and I give you 10, big deal. My generosity in giving you $10 while I have $1 million is hardly worth anything. But if I have $10 and give you 9, that can mean something, because giving of the $9 when I have 10 and only 1 to live on will have an impact on my life. This is a giving not just in what we can live without. That's not really giving, but a giving in what we cannot live without or don't want to live without. That's the real meaning of a gift, because that kind of giving hurts. And this is when that kind of giving becomes love. It becomes love in action. when the gift is as desperately needed by the giver, by me, as it is by you, the receiver, that's true giving. And something wonderful happens to that gift. It becomes holy. Because that gift now involves sacrifice. Blessed Mother Teresa told a story how one day when she was walking down the street, a beggar came to her and said, "Mother Teresa, everybody's giving to you. You are so well known. I don't have much, but what I want to give to you is this. Today, for the whole day, I got 30 cents sitting begging, and I want to give it to you." Mother Teresa was faced with a dilemma. If I take the 30 cents, he'll have nothing to eat tonight. But if I don't take the 30 cents, he will feel devalued, as if his gift is not worth it. So she put out her hand and took the 30 cents. And she says, "I've never seen such joy on anyone's face as I saw on the face of that beggar. And the thought that he also could be one of the many givers that gave to Mother Teresa." The story doesn't end there. Mother Teresa goes on and says, it was a big sacrifice for that poor man who had sat in the sun all day long and received only 30 cents. He gave everything that he had. It was beautiful. 30 cents is such a small amount, and I can buy almost nothing with it. But as he gave it up and I took it, it became like thousands of dollars because it was given with so much love. And Mother Teresa goes on to say, that's how God looks. Not on the greatness of the work, but on the love with which that work is performed. The readings today tell similar stories of apparent generosity, and they concern two very poor people, two widows. Now, women didn't have a great position in the society at the time of Jesus, and widows had even less. There was nothing for them. They could rely on nothing. There was no Social Security or government subsidies at all. We wonder how someone so poor as the widow in that Zarephath, who took the flour and the oil based upon what she was told, that the jug of flour, the container of flour would never go dry and the jug never empty. She gave everything. The widow in the gospel that Jesus praises, she gave all that she had to live on. One needs to have been faithful over many years to practice that generosity and to have hearts like theirs. It's not just achieved by a few great deeds, but a lot of little ones. If we occupy a high position in life and we have a name and reputation to uphold and keep up and preserve and to guard, we may be conscious then about being in the public eye, so that when we do a good deed, it may impress others and it may grab the headlines, especially when there's some public acknowledgement or public flourish. And this introduces a sticky element in our performance, because actually then we're performing for an audience by the great publicity we receive because of our apparent magnanimity. But if we have a low station in life, such as those widows, it can be an advantage in the art of giving. because we won't get much attention. In that way, what we do and give has a better chance of being anonymous. And our deed is more likely to come from not only from the heart, but that deed is more likely to be blessed by God. And when God blesses our gift, because it is an invitation to Him, it becomes holy. Even though no one else noticed that the widow had done in the temple, Jesus noticed and praised it. Even though the anonymous gift we give is not noticed by anyone else, Jesus notices and praises the giver and blesses the gift and makes it holy. It's comforting to know that even such a small deed of love does not escape God's attention. How good are we at recognizing what others do? How good are we in affirming them in their goodness? Sad, the truth may be that we are so self-absorbed that we don't even notice the goodness of others, or we seldom care. The widows of the Old Testament as well as the New gave their all. They let go of every shred of security and trusted themselves wholly in God. But my friends, that obvious theme of generosity, we could stop there and say, well, that was a good theme for us to reflect on. There is something else hidden in that story, both stories, that we really need to dig into. Because it's not just about generosity. It's about something else. Once there was a hermit who lived in the woods, and in his little hut he had his little treasure of what he had to live on. One night, a thief came, broke into his hut, and said to him, I want your treasure. I want what you have, or I'll take your life. He said, here, take it. And he gave it all to him, all that he had, willingly. Take anything else you want, my clothes, my furniture. Take whatever it is you want. And the thief left. The next night, the thief comes back and breaks in again. And the beggar says, now what do you want? I have given you everything. You have my treasure. You have my food. You have my furniture. What is it? What else do you want from me? And the thief said, I want what you have that makes it possible for you to give everything that you have. I want what you have that makes it possible for you to give all that you have. That woman at Zarephath, that woman in the temple, they had the same thing that little hermit had in the woods. What was it? What does that hermit have, those widows have? Trust. 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 They had the trust that God will take care of them. They had the trust that they need not fear. Sometimes we hang on to things, I must hang on to this because I don't know what tomorrow may bring. And I'm not suggesting that we deplete our bank accounts. I am suggesting that we think about the trust that we have. The trust that we have in God, that God will take care of us. That trust will bless our generosity. And from that trust, our generosity can grow. if we learn that we can, as the widows learned, all will be good. I will be taken care of. That poor widow of Zarephath, all she had, handful of flour and a little oil. And because she trusted, she ate for an entire year. You see, it works also the other way around. Because we trust in God, God will then be generous toward us, and we need not fear. That's that little hidden nugget in those two stories. May we learn to grow in trust of God for all that we have, so that we may imitate him in giving to one another. May the Lord grant you peace in ways that the world cannot.